Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. There's a nude bowling tournament. Nude! In Pittsburgh Saturday, Tony. Would you ever bowl in the nude?
And Tony Kornheiser, not again. One arrest is enough. Not doing that again. Nope.
I don't believe this story. It's like a Florida man. I'm not buying a nude bowling tournament. Not in Pittsburgh. In Amsterdam, maybe, not Pittsburgh.
Well, you're the bowler. Between the two of us, you know more about bowling. If you don't know nude bowling, I'm staying out of this. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Cooper Flagg debuts in Summer League. The Dodgers have lost 6 straight, and Lionel Messi is putting up big numbers for Inter Miami. But we begin today, as we have all this week, with compelling action from Wimbledon. The first women's semifinal between top seed Aryna Sabalenka and the 13th seed American Amanda Anisimova was spectacular. 3 sets, each won 6-4. Anisimova won the first and the third, and at one point in the third set, peeled off 4 games in a row. In the second semifinal, Iga Swiatek steamrolled Belinda Bencic 6-2, 6-0 in 71 minutes. Wilbon, what do you think of who won and the finals matchup?
Well, Tony, there wasn't much in the second match that you just mentioned, a 6-love score.
That's right. Finishing
that off. But the first one, I mean, Anisimova and Sabalenka had the drama, the tension. It seems like you could easily line up behind one or the other. I certainly did and have done that during this tournament. And I found myself at triple match point even. Sabalenka can work herself into such a state when she's behind and just rip off winners that even down triple match point, I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to extend this thing, because at one point she had to do that in the second set to get the second set. So it just had everything, Tony. And I don't know about projecting to the final. I didn't have much interest in that. I was pretty absorbed in that first match, and I felt like I was tired, like I had played some points by the time it was over, because I don't know how you could be entertained, more entertained than that.
We agree right down the line. We're not going to talk about the Swiatek match. It was not a compelling match. And the Sabalenka match was absolutely fabulous. I mean, I'm watching this thing. I thought when they get to the third set and Sabalenka breaks in the first game, I say to myself, okay, she's going to cruise now. Anisimova can't stay with her now. And then Anisimova wins 4 in a row. She breaks right back, wins 4 in a row, including another break game. And so I say to myself, okay, this one is over, because what I watched then, Sabalenka was wild with a lot of shots. She was committing unforced errors, and I thought, okay, she's done. But she breaks back to 4-5 and she gets served at 4-5. And I think, you know what? It's just like against Raducanu. She's going to win this thing. She's a champion. She's going to win. But she couldn't close this time. There was, as you say, triple match point, and Sabalenka got 2, but she did not get the third. I just thought it was an absolutely riveting set. I'm really glad I watched it. I'm okay if Swiatek wins, because she's already won a lot on clay. She's won on hard court. If she wins on grass, she's won on all surfaces, and then there is greatness in that. But I'm rooting for Anisimova. And I'm rooting for her because this is someone, and I'm grateful to Patrick McEnroe for mentioning her when he was on the show. She was, said he was keeping his eye on her. She was ranked 189th last year. Not 5 years ago. Last year, she was going through a period where she didn't like tennis, so she seemed to like it today. So I'm going to root for her, because you know what, Mike? If she wins, that's 3 American women in a row winning majors. That's Madison Keys, that's Coco Gauff, and that's, you know, Anisimova. So.
Yeah, I just hope that the final gives us something as riveting as that first semi. And it may not turn out that way, but I hope it does. Let's move to the men's semis, which take place tomorrow morning. 5th seeded Taylor Fritz takes on 2-time defending champ Carlos Alcaraz in the first match. And in the second, 38-year-old Novak Djokovic faces world number 1 Jannik Sinner. Tone, which would be the bigger upset, Fritz over Alcaraz or Joker over Sinner?
This, to me, is not even close. The bigger upset is if Taylor Fritz beats Alcaraz. Now, I know Taylor Fritz is the 5 seed, and I know Djokovic is the 6th. And I know, doing the numbers, that the disparity is greater if a 6 beats a 1 than if a 5 beats a 2. I can do that math. But come on, which of these four people does not belong in this group? It's Taylor Fritz. All the other guys have multiple majors. They are big stage, bright lights tennis players. If Taylor Fritz were to win this, it'd be the greatest win of his career. He would beat the defending champion. He would go to the finals at Wimbledon. I don't think that's going to happen, but I understand what's at stake. I also think it's an upset if Djokovic beats Sinner. I mean, Djokovic didn't even practice today, I read. You know, he fell the other day, and maybe he's taking some time off. But it would be an upset because Sinner just beat him in the semis in France, and Sinner, I think we decided yesterday, has beaten him 4 straight times. But, Mike, this is Novak Djokovic. He has won more majors than any other man of all time. This guy can smell the finish line, and neither of us is going to be surprised if he wills himself into winning this one.
Upset doesn't even begin to describe. It wouldn't even surprise me if Djokovic beats Sinner. Not surprise me at all. Not even at 38, not having fallen down, not having practice. When I heard he didn't practice, I went into Allen Iverson mode. Practice? Practice?
No.
Joker needs practice? What? No, he doesn't need practice. He needs to be in a frame of mind, which he seems to be able to get himself into as often as any male tennis player ever when it comes to getting deep in the biggest and best tennis tournaments. So it wouldn't be an upset. Taylor Fritz would be an upset, even though Fritz, was in the finals of the U.S. Open less than a year ago, and Fritz is on the come. It's still going to be an upset. We're talking two-time defending champ. And since struggling in that first match, Alcaraz only lost 2 sets. So Alcaraz has really gotten himself together. I know he hasn't been tested, hasn't played, a top-flight player recently, but when he's on a roll, Tony, I don't know that it matters.
I'll just say this, Mike, that the correct final would be 1 against 2. It would be Sinner and Alcaraz. I mean, they are the best players in the world, and it is visible that they are the best players in the world. But I'll bet you more people would rather see Djokovic-Alcaraz. I'll bet you on that. I'll bet you. Yeah. Let's go to baseball, where the Los Angeles Dodgers were swept last night by the Milwaukee Brewers on a walk-off single by Jackson Chourio in the 10th inning. This is the first time the Brewers have ever swept the Dodgers in Milwaukee. And this was the Dodgers' 6th loss in a row. That's the first time the Dodgers have lost that many in a row since 2019. We're on the Dodgers' losing streak. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
It's between little deal and no deal, Tony, because everything is relative in sports, which people forget. And they want to cite stats and say this is the first time ever, and he's the youngest ever, he's the oldest ever. The Dodgers are going through something that every team in the National League so far, maybe except my Cubs, and I'm worried they're going to go through it, has either gone through recently or is going through now. The Phillies just went through this. The Mets have gone through it. We talk about every week somebody, particularly in the National League, even in the American League, the Yankees went through it. The Astros did it early. They haven't done it lately. But we're seeing this. They go through where they lose 6 out of 7 or 8 out of 11 or 5 in a row. This is the nature of baseball, and particularly right now in the National League. So do I expect the Dodgers to live in that forever, to dwell in it? No, I don't. The Giants have been through it. We've already seen that. The Padres have been through it. So it's the Dodgers' turn. Does it surprise me they've lost these 6 in a row and got swept by Milwaukee for the first time ever in Milwaukee?
Right.
Yeah, it surprises me, but it's not a big deal. It's just not.
Right. I don't think it's no deal. I agree mostly with what you're saying. I don't think it's no deal. I would point out that the teams that are beating the Dodgers at the moment, the Astros and the Brewers, are good teams. They're playoff teams. It's not like the Dodgers have lost to the Colorado Rockies and the Chicago White Sox. That didn't happen. But it is 6 in a row, and that is of concern, particularly to a first-place team. I should say it's mitigated a little bit by the fact that the Dodgers, before losing 6 in a row, won 9 out of 10, although I concede that was against the underbelly of the league. That was the aforementioned Colorado Rockies and Chicago White Sox and my Washington Nationals, who are stumbling and struggling at the moment. I agree with you that the teams go through this. If I was concerned, I'd be concerned about the run differential in these 6 games, Mike, because the run differential is 34. It's, the run differential is a lot. Here are the scores of the games. Oh, stop with this bell while I hit my nose, because this is important. 18-1-6-4-5-1-9-1-3-1-3-2. So 4 of the games, Mike, the Dodgers only got 1 run. And this is a team with, with Ohtani and with Freeman and with Betts and Teoscar Hernandez and the catcher.
They're not hitting.
Great Smith.
Not hitting right now.
They're not. If you take Hernandez and Betts and Freeman and Ohtani, for the last 6 weeks, they're hitting 225. So that is of a concern to me. That is. But it's 162. Let's take a break. Coming up, Cooper Flagg makes his Summer League debut tonight. What is the word for that?
And what's the best way to describe the goal-scoring tear that Lionel Messi has been on?
I would
they got
really
good,
have
well-pitched
better
games. The Dodgers wasted 2 well-pitched games in a row.
4 games out of 6 where they only scored 1 run. That's very surprising with that lineup.
Yeah,
well,
but it's every
Muncie's out.
lineup.
Muncie's out. Time to flex some lexicon on what's the word. What's first?
Cooper Flagg's Summer League debut tonight will be blank.
My word is overstated. I'm taking one of your words, Wilbon. Overstated and also overpriced. There's a report that courtside seats are going for $3,000 for this game, for a meaningless Summer League exhibition game contested mainly by people not good enough to ever play in the NBA. In this particular case, it's Dallas and the Lakers, and so you get last year in the Summer League's curiosity and Bronny James. This, to me, is a product of the hype machine. I don't think there's anything short of breaking his leg that Cooper Flagg can do in this game that will have any meaning whatsoever in his NBA career. And having said that, I am convinced that Get Up and First Take will lead with this morning and tomorrow morning. Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be on with Wimbledon. But anyway, Tony, I'm going to disagree with you a little. It is overstated, but it's also worthwhile. And that's my word, worthwhile, just because I want to see Cooper Flagg. I'm going to watch it live, 5 o'clock out here in the desert in the West. I want to see what Cooper Flagg looks like. I want to see how he moves, how much is he going to have the ball. You're right, Tony. Only, let's say, 6 of the people on the court max, if we go over under, how many of them will play meaningful games in the NBA at some point in their lives? Maybe 7, but that's about it. And by the way, Tony, real games and maybe playoff games, you're talking about maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So it could be two people on each side. But I want to see Cooper Flagg. He's the novelty. He's the curiosity. He's why you and I think that the NBA would go as far as fixing the lottery. If you're going to fix a lottery for a God, and damn it, I want to see him in Summer League. I want to see him. I'm going to see him.
Meaningless.
Come on.
Exhibition nonsense.
Come on. You got nothing but
nonsense.
the gnats.
Nonsense. Nonsense. What's next?
Lionel Messi has scored 2 goals in 4 straight MLS games. That's blank.
That's indicative. Indicative of what, you ask? Indicative of the huge gap between the MLS and real soccer. You will remember 10 or 12 days ago, Inter Miami and Messi played against Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup, and they got their doors blown off, 4-0 at halftime. And then they come back to the very comfortable land of the MLS, and before that game, they won games 5-1 and 4-2, and after that game, they won it 4-1 and 2-1. And now, and what all that goes to show is that Lionel Messi is indeed the great draw in American soccer, and he is worth the money. He's worth Cooper Flagg's seat money. He's that good. And his teammates here, who were, according to the Zlatan, they were carrying bags of cement when they played against PSG. Now they somehow look lighter than air in the MLS.
Yeah, Tony, I mean, I'm not going to go as far as to say that the MLS is sort of nothing, but my word is inflated. I mean, the 4 goals in the MLS are nice, but then when he got to the international stage with Club World Cup, there was 1 goal. And so then we get some perspective on the value of a goal, the value of a goal in MLS, the value of a goal against the world's best club teams. And so I don't, I get that Messi can still do this on one level, but that step up is a little bit difficult to navigate. So inflate it, and this is what, people aren't going to want to hear that. The Messi brigade, the Messi sycophants, they're coming after you and me, even though you're in your white coat. Too bad, inflate it.
I'm in my white doctor coat, but underneath, I have the heart of a pink shirt. That's the final word. Let's take one last break. Still to come, Deion Sanders supports a college football salary cap.
And did Giannis just indicate where he wants to play this coming season?
I don't know. I mean, the Paris Saint-Germain game, there's a lesson in that for the MLS teams. It is.
Yeah.
DC United fired its coach today. They fire a coach every year. Every year they fire somebody.
Yeah,
and they're
pretty
still
much.
no good. How
Pretty
come?
much.
Happy time, people. Happy 65th birthday, Roger Craig. The Hall of Fame running back for the San Francisco 49ers tends to get overshadowed by Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, as does everyone on those 49ers, honestly. Craig had been a second-round draft choice out of Nebraska in 1983. He ended up with 3 Super Bowl rings and 4 Pro Bowl appearances. Craig was the first player in the NFL to have 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving in the same season. Since then, Marshall Faulk and Christian McCaffrey have accomplished that. Craig's 566 pass receptions ranked 9th all-time for a running back. Craig ended his career with 8,189 yards rushing, 4,911 yards receiving, and 88 total touchdowns.
Craig largely predated fantasy football, Tony. People would have gone nuts. I mean, but in real life, he ran so hard. He and Rathman back there, and you think of, yes, Montana to Rice and Young to Rice, but they ran the ball so effectively, which gets overlooked. And Roger Craig was the primary reason why they could run it down your throat, and they did.
And you know what that means, Mike? They were a great team and a dynasty.
Truly.
Legitimately.
Truly.
Happy
That's
anniversary, Fernando Valenzuela and Dwight Gooden. This is posthumous for Valenzuela. But on this day, 41 years ago, the two pitchers combined to strike out an All-Star game record 6 consecutive hitters. Valenzuela pitched the 4th, and he struck out Dave Winfield, Reggie Jackson, and George Brett. Wow. Let me repeat that. Wow. Then Gooden, who was the youngest All-Star ever at age 19, struck out Lance Parrish, Chet Lemon, and Alvin Davis in the 5th on the way to a 3-1 National League win. All this happened on the 50th anniversary of the great Carl Hubbell in the 1934 All-Star game, striking out 5 future Hall of Famers in a row. Write these names down: Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, Joe Cronin. Murderers Row.
Well, if that was 1934, it had to be the second All-Star game ever. All-Star game, I think, was born in 1933 in my hometown. But, Tony, when you talk about Valenzuela and Gooden, again, this is why I got so excited the other night over a starting pitching matchup. We don't have them. Gooden and Valenzuela, I know they didn't oppose each other, but they followed each other. They were stacked. We don't even dream about that kind of stuff anymore.
I don't think there's ever been anything like Hubbell, though. I mean, once you start with Ruth and
those
Garrett,
5.
nothing like that. A melancholy trails Frank Layden. The longtime Utah Jazz coach and GM has passed away at the age of 93. Layden was hired as GM of the Jazz when the team was still in New Orleans, then added head coaching responsibilities for 7.5 seasons after the team moved to Salt Lake City. He won the NBA's Coach and Executive of the Year awards in 1984, and that's before he drafted John Stockton and Karl Malone. Eventually, Layden appointed Jerry Sloan as head coach, but stayed on as GM and team president. Layden was a very popular guy, both competent and not a jerk. And he was college roommates at Niagara with U.B. Brown.
And, Tony, he was so engaging to be around when you go to Salt Lake. And I don't know that you could have more opposites, greater opposites, right, than Jerry Sloan and Frank Layden in terms of their demeanor and how they went about it. But they were quite a 1-2 combination, and it's just difficult to believe that they're both now gone.
I will say this about Frank Layden. He was one of those people, when you were a sports writer, you enjoyed talking to him. It was not confrontational. He was very
Couldn't
giving
wait.
with it, and he was a very funny guy. We're running out of show. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Prompter. Rays slugger Junior Caminero has joined the home run derby. I'll bet you're excited.
No, I mean, the home run derby is like the dunk contest to me. It's over. It jumped the shark
Oh, I
years
like
ago.
it.
I don't care.
Really?
I don't care.
I like it. I like it.
Ronald Acuna Jr. broke out of a slump with 2 home runs in a win over the A's last night. You impressed?
I didn't even know he was in a slump. I thought he was batting like 380. I thought he came back to the league and just was killing it. The Thunder signed Jalen Williams to a 5-year rookie max of up to $287 million. Your thoughts?
J-Dub, SGA, and Chet have just signed for $822 million. Just the 3 of them, Tony. Deion Sanders says he supports a college football salary cap. I bet you're surprised by that.
I'm not even surprised at all. He was a pro football player. He understands money. He understands the cap. He knows it can be applied to have a certain amount of fairness. I'm not surprised. Last one, Giannis told live streamer iShowSpeed that he'll probably stay in Milwaukee. Do you believe that?
Today I do, but stuff happens. We got a long way to go before the start of the season, much less the trade deadline.
I know, but you're going to be occupied with Summer League tonight. We're out of time. Try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. I'm going to miss the Nats. You'll excuse.
Bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon, who is the most important person in Michigan sports history?
Tony, this largely falls on how you define it. And I'm not going to define it just by people who played there. So therefore, people will say, you're leaving out Barry Sanders. I'm not leaving him out. Barry Sanders is one of the all-time greats. But no, he's not produced by Michigan. Produced by. I mean, in other words, was reared there largely or, entirely, or is from that circumstance, from the people of Michigan. So I'm going to start with Irvin Magic Johnson, who also did some playing there, Tony. And I'm going to go to Tommy Hitman Hearns, who was born in Memphis but raised since like 5 years old in the state of Michigan. My God, I could say Kronk Jim. I know that's not a person, but Kronk Jim is institutionally so important. I'm going to give you one, Tony, that I know influenced the whole state, but mostly Detroit as much as anything I've seen in my 60-plus years of being a neighbor of Michigan, and that's the Fab Five. Because what they did culturally in Detroit, in and around Detroit, and the entire state of Michigan, wearing Michigan across their jerseys, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, and others, the Fab Five just can't be overlooked. And so to me, I'm going to those people as being from and of the fabric of Michigan as opposed to people who, like Ty Cobb, who did great things there, but are not from and of Michigan in the same way to me.
So just before I start, are you going to pick a most important person, or are you going to push and just say, well, I've named a few?
I don't know if you can do it. Then I would say either Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis, and Magic Johnson. Right. I'm starting. That's where I'm going.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to name a bunch of other people that also are either from Michigan or had great success in Michigan. Because Michigan, Detroit is one of those places, there's about 12 or 15 of these cities in the country. They got all sports. And they got championship sports. I know the Lions never won a championship, a Super Bowl. They never won a Super Bowl. They have won a championship. But they've got everything. So you have the Red Wings. So you got to name Gordie Howe. Because he spent like a million years there, right?
He did.
And you got the Pistons who've won, so you've got to name Isaiah Thomas, even though he's from Chicago, and played ball in Indiana, but he also played for the Pistons. In baseball, Al Kaline, you've got to mention Al Kaline. That great team with the pitching from Denny McClain and Mickey Lolich, you have to sort of think about them. And you said Ty Cobb. You have to think. There are other players that are lost to years beyond our audience. The great Bubba Smith played at Michigan State.
Yeah.
Tom Harmon played at the University of Michigan and won a Heisman there, I believe. You can't leave out Tom Izzo. He's a native son, is he not? And he's done such great work at Michigan State. Jim Harbaugh won a championship. Bo Schembechler is on the Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes
Chuck Daly?
stage level. Yeah,
Chuck Daly, who of course was
sure.
with those great
So
teams with Isaiah and the Bad Boy Pistons.
there are
yes.
a million people. There are a million people. And yet, if you force me to pick one, because of everything else he has done, and because of the incredible infectious smile that he brought with him onto the court every time he played at Michigan State, if you forced me to pick one, I might well pick Magic Johnson. Now, I would give you 5 others that are right on that level, but I know that Magic Johnson's great pro career was somewhere else, but I always think of him as Michigan State. Always.
2 guys of Michigan we got to mention. Derek Jeter, number 2 Jeter, and George Gervin, the Iceman, Detroit's own.
Well, wait.
The state of Michigan is just chock full of greats.
There's another one that you left out, that we both left out, because he was a late-round draft pick. The GOAT, Tom Brady, University of Michigan.
University of. He's California boy. He's California boy.
University of. You can claim him.
That's
if
it.
you're going to claim George
We tried
Gervin,
to name them all, even though we couldn't
did.
name them all. We're done. Back to you.